Today, we're going to compare the cameras on a Galaxy S24 Ultra versus the iPhone 15 Pro. And during this Unpacked event, we're going to have this cultural day where we go to a lot of events throughout the San Jose area, and we're going to be taking a lot of pictures and going to cool events. So for the most part, you will probably see a lot of other creators in this video as well. Alright, let's get the obvious out the way. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is going to do better in the telephoto side of things just because it has that 50 megapixel 5x camera. So if you know that you zoom in a lot using your camera, the Galaxy makes more sense. Even though at 100x is not going to look the best, I would say at 30x it still looks better than the 15x on iPhone. Now some people may not prefer that over processed or the sharpening effect on a Samsung, but when you zoom in that much, then I would rather take it or use it as a tool when I want to zoom in into text or a sign far away. So basically I'm using it more as a tool than using it to take a great picture. One thing I noticed that is more consistent on the iPhone 15 Pro is the HDR. A lot of the highlights seems to be a bit more controlled, and on a Galaxy it's like just to the point where it's clipping. But there will be some moments where the highlights on a Galaxy does look better than the iPhone. The colors are also a bit different on each phone. As you may know, the iPhone is a bit more flat and the Galaxy is known for their more saturated poppy look. So personally, I think it's more pleasing taking pictures with the Galaxy if it's food or if you're sharing it straight to social media. And then there's the white balancing. I feel like on the iPhone, it does have that more yellowish and sometimes greenish hue on a lot of their pictures or video. And I'm grateful that on the iPhone 15 Pro, there's less of that versus the 14. And on a Galaxy, it seems like it's leaning towards more on the coolish side. So it comes across a bit more blue, or even the white looks more white than the iPhone. One struggle on phones is when you're taking pictures in lower light situations, like when you're indoors with less light, and especially moving people or pets, then you will notice a lot of the slower shutter speed, which kind of gives off a blurry looking picture. Now, both of these phones do struggle with that, so if you have a dog running around or a little child, then it might be pretty hard to get a crystal clear picture. But when I'm taking pictures of something like this, I feel like the iPhone is just slightly better, but it's not by much. For low light, I feel like the ultra wide and the wide both take really good pictures. Once it starts to get into the 3x or more, the S24 Ultra seems to take a bit more clearer pictures. And obviously once you get into the 5x and max zoom at 15x, yeah, the Galaxy is definitely much better. With the new 50 megapixel 5x camera, you can now use it in portrait mode, so you get 1x, 2x, 3x, and then 5x, which is great if you have plenty of room, but if you're indoors, it's kind of hard to use. While on the iPhone, you get 1x, 2x, and 3x, and overall, I think 2x is the sweet spot. It's a good distance to take your pictures, and the background feels a bit more compressed versus the 1x, it seems very wide. So if you want to take a portrait looking picture, then anything above 2x works. And since Samsung is collaborating with Instagram, I just want to see how it looks like taking pictures just straight off of the Instagram camera and saving it into my gallery. They both look great. There are some differences. I feel like the Galaxy is just a tiny bit sharper on certain photos, but nonetheless they are very similar. And for video, I still have that same problem as always with most Androids, is that when you save it to the gallery, the first like 3 seconds or so it's just black, whereas on an iPhone you can see the video right from the start, so there's no issues there. Now moving on to video, for these first 3 clips that I'm showing, it looks like the iPhone is just clipping more on the highlights. And this is just a cloudy day, no sun is coming out, so everything should be more diffused and even. And when I moved indoors later on, you're going to see the highlights to be much better on the iPhone than a Galaxy. And a quick test shooting with the 3x, obviously the stabilization is a lot better on a Galaxy. Now when we move indoors, I can still see the slower shutter speed happening on a Galaxy, so if you happen to pause the video during I'm panning or when people are moving, it seems like the iPhone is a bit cleaner and clearer. And using the wide lens for shooting low light situations will give you the best results. So overall, they both are really good phones. There are still some little downsides on a Galaxy, which I think is mainly for video and probably some of the highlights that they could probably tone down later in like some future update. If you do need a telephoto and you like to zoom in a lot, then obviously between these two, the Galaxy S24 Ultra is going to be the better purchase. So after these few clips, I'm going to end it off with some selfies and let me know what you think about them or just these two phones in general. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys later.